Hello and welcome back to the CEO Soapbox Podcast, episode number 19. I am your host, Neda Farzad, and today I want to talk about something that sounds a bit backwards, but is true more often than business leaders realize. Ready? Winning more work can actually make the business worse. Yep, I said it. You know the thing everyone say they want? The thing everyone's pushing for, the thing that give everyone that little rush of look at us go. Meanwhile, behind the scene, the business is getting harder to run. More pressure, more rework, more margin getting quietly leaking out the side, more shit being held together by effort instead of design and process. So if your business is growing, but it feels heavier instead of healthier, or you didn't expect it to be like this episode is for you. Let's get into it. Now, here's the truth. Here's my truth, and this is what I advise. Not all growth is good growth. And more work is not the same thing as better business. I've seen businesses win more clients, more jobs, bigger jobs, more demands, more opportunities, and instead of getting stronger, they get shakier. The team gets overloaded, leaders gets reactive, standards slip, communication gets messier, the customer experience, it actually gets inconsistent. That's a very dangerous one. And the weird part is, on paper, things meant to be improving. But inside, when you dig in a bit more, it doesn't feel like improvement. And if you're a CEO, business owner, you know that feeling. You'd absolutely get it in your guts because it's your baby, right? It feels like pressure. That's the bit businesses don't talk about it enough. Because when revenue is up, everyone wants to celebrate. Everyone wants to say growth is working. But sometimes growth is not working. Sometimes growth is just exposing what was already weak. And that's the real issue. More work doesn't fix a messy business. It puts that mess on display. And this mess doesn't usually show up as one dramatic disaster. It shows up in a quieter ways first. Ways that CEO or leaders brush it off. The ways that business leader or CEO normalizes it. You start hearing things like, you see, we're just really busy at the moment. Or we've outgrown our systems. This is my favorite. We just need a few more people. But, oh my God, this is actually my favorite. I thought the other one was, but this one, I just thought about this. It's a good problem to have. Or we just need to tighten a few things up. Or once this busy patch settles, we'll sort it out. And sure, sometimes businesses do go through growth phases where things get stretched. That part is normal. But here's where it starts going bad. The business keeps winning work faster than it can properly absorb it and produce an outcome for the client. Sales keeps selling. Operation keeps compensating. Delivery keeps firefighting. Finance keeps watching margin gets chipped away. And leadership keeps confusing movement with progress. That's when the signs start showing up. Project takes longer than they should. Scope starts getting a bit blurry. The wrong clients, they're the worst one, are getting through. Your team is flat out but not calm. More decisions need escalating, more meetings happen but clarity doesn't improve. Customer issues pops up more often. And good business leaders get tired and snappy. And the founder or CEO gets dragged back into the weeds because the machine still cannot carry the load without them. And the most frustrating part, from the outside, the business can still look fine because the revenue is up. The pipeline looks decent. Marketing is busy. Sales are happy. Headcount may even be growing. So everybody assumes the business is healthy. But internally, it feels like wheels are wobbling. That matters because when a business is growing and struggling at the same time, a lot of leaders diagnose the wrong problem. And that could be you. They think we need a better system. Or, we need more accountability. Or we need another hire. Or maybe we need better communication system. Or we need the team to step up. And sometimes, yes, Yes, I agree. One of those things helps. But a lot of times, the real issue is this. You are winning work your business is not properly built to deliver. Maybe the work is wrong fit. Maybe it's underpriced. This is a big one. Or too custom. Maybe it creates more operational drag than anyone allowed for. Maybe your team can do it, but only by overextending themselves and paying for it later, which eventually means that your business is paying for it. That's when growth stops being exciting and starts being very, very expensive. So now I'm going to share what businesses usually get wrong, and this is where I want to push back on the usual business advice. Because a lot of business content out there around growth is shallow as hell and is not helpful. I've got nothing against business coaches, but some of them do not have the right advice. It's all, you got to scale faster. You got to close more deals. Or get more, my favorite one, get more leads. Or say yes to more opportunity. Your business is not saying yes to more opportunities. Or stop leaving money on the table. And look, I am not anti-growth or I'm not anti-business coach, obviously. I help businesses grow. But there's a big but. I care about good and sustainable growth. I care about profitable growth, operationally sane growth. Growth that doesn't require the leadership team to slowly lose their mind, or even your team. What I'm not interested in is this lazy assumption that more demand is always the answer. Because sometimes more demand is the bloody problem. Sometimes the business doesn't need more work. What it needs is, before it gets more work, needs a better judgment. Better selection, better delivery discipline, better commercial boundaries, better capacity decisions, and better alignments between what gets sold and what can actually be delivered well to the client. That's where a lot of businesses get trapped. They treat sales like this hero function. So if demand is there, they take it. If the client wants it, they find the way. If the deal is on the table, they don't want to miss it. And if the back end is struggling, they tell themselves, we'll fix it later. But we all know this later keeps not arriving. And then the business grows in volume while going backwards in quality. And we don't want that. That's not a scale, my friend. That's a strain pretending to be growth. There is a big difference between those two. Growth without operating discipline is just more expensive version of your old problems. And I think a lot of leaders already know this. They can feel it in their guts. But they override their own instincts because the top line is moving and everyone around them is acting like that they should be enough. So they ignore the heaviness. They normalize the friction. They tell themselves this is just the price of ambition. Nope, not always. Some of what business leaders call growth pain, it's actually is bad fit work, weak execution, poor boundaries, or leadership avoidance wearing a growth costume. And that's a very different conversation because now we're talking about we're not talking about the demand problem, we're talking about judgment problem. Now, we talk about all this, and I want to share the actual cost of ignoring this, not just in theory, in real business term. First cost, which is the most important thing, it damages margin. This is the one that gets missed all the time. Work comes in, everyone celebrates, which is fine, not a problem. But nobody properly, as a leader, probably looks at what it actually takes to deliver the work when the team is overloaded, context, switching, redoing things, rushing, firefighting, or constantly making exceptions. So the revenue looks good, right? But the real effort behind it, the actual profitability, the delivery drag, that starts looking pretty average. You end up with work that technically made money, but took too much senior time, too much cleaning up, too much noise, and too much back and forth. That's not quality revenue. That's noisy revenue. Number 2 cost. It increases operational drag, which again, it's cost. The more wrong fit or badly managed work you win, the more the business has to compensate. Business leaders starts relying on heroics. Processes get bypassed. Small issues turn into escalations. Decision bottlenecks increases. Communication gets noisy. Priorities blur. Everything starts taking more effort than it should. And that's exhausting. The business feels busy all the time, but not necessarily effective. This is a shit place to lead from. Now, cost number 3. It creates leadership fatigue. When growth outpaces operational maturity, leadership gets dragged into the constant intervention. You know that, right? I can see you nodding. You're chasing updates, approving exceptions, calming clients. That's a big one. Reprioritizing team, making decisions other business leaders should be able to make, trying to hold standards together while the whole thing speeds up. So instead of leading the business, the leadership team is stuck managing the side effects of growth. That wear business leaders down, and the founder or a CEO often gets hit hardest. They become the pressure release valve for the business. Everyone comes to them because the system still isn't strong enough. So the business grows, but dependency grows with it. That's not a freedom, my friend, if you own a business. That's a trap for you. Now, another cost number 4, it confuses the culture. So when a business keeps saying yes to work it cannot properly support and provide an outcome, the team starts getting the mixed messages. They hear, we care about quality, but they see rushed delivery. They hear from the leader or the business owner, we trust our business leaders, but they experience constant intervention. They hear, we want sustainable growth, but they live overload, noise, and messy priorities. That gap matters because once the business leaders stop trusting the words, culture becomes performative. They comply, but they don't commit. Now, cost number 5, it hurts the client experience. That's an expensive one, and any business owner knows this. Any leader knows this. Clients can feel internal friction even if they can't name it. They can feel it in slow replies, in confusing communication, in mixed messages, in dropped balls, in defensive energy, in unclear next steps. They can tell when a business is trying hard but isn't fully in control. They're clever and that damages their trust. You can win more work and still quietly weaken your reputation while doing it. Cost number 6, it costs the leader personally. All this commotion in the business can get personal. If you're leading a business that keeps growing in a way that creates more chaos, it wears on you. You get tired, less patient, less sharp, a bit resentful, if we're honest. You start wondering whether the business is actually improving or whether you're just getting better at carrying more weight. You can be grateful for growth and still hate what it's doing to the business. That's real. And there's nothing impressive about building a business that becomes harder to lead every time it gets bigger. That's not success. That's a warning sign to you. Now, okay, so now you're going to say, okay, so what am I going to do this? How are we going to get it better? So here's the framework. I love frameworks. Or everything is good, but tactic is good too. So the goal is not to win more work, even though, yes, we are. I know. But the goal is not to win more work. We're talking about this framework. The goal is to build a business that can, hear me out, build a business that can choose, absorb, and deliver well the right work. That's completely different standard, because now the focus isn't just volume. It's fit, flow, profitability, repeatability, and operational sanity. Now you can start asking better questions. What kind of work actually strengthens this business? What kind of work strains us? Where do we make good money versus noisy money? What work fits how we actually operate? Or what creates complexity we keep underestimating? My favorite one, what breaks first when demand increases? Where are we still relying on effort instead of design and systems? That's the conversation. Ooh, that gets me excited. Because not all revenue is equal, my friends. Some work builds the business. Some work drains it. Some clients, we love them, create momentum. And some creates noise and they're from hell. Some projects makes your model stronger. Other quietly prove your model is still too loose. You do not need to say yes to everything you can sell. Really, you don't have to. This is one of the biggest things I tell business owners. You need to get brutally honest about what your business is built to do well. That might mean tightening your offers, mean raising your standards, improving handovers, simplifying delivery, price differently, saying no faster, changing how capacity decisions get made. It might also mean accepting something a bit uncomfortable. Yep, you ready? Some of your current growth is being created by decisions that look exciting early and became expensive later. Oh, I can see you nodding. You've done it, haven't you? That doesn't mean you failed. Let's get this straight. That doesn't mean you failed. We've all been there. It means you've got a clearer level of readership available to you right now, and that's useful. That's experience, right? Because once you see the pattern, you can stop romanticizing growth and start managing it properly. The point is to not get bigger at any cost. The point is to get better as you grow. Now, all right, let's make this properly useful. So if this, I'm going to give you a little guide. So if this issue is showing up in your business, here are places I look first. This is what I do with the businesses that I work with. Number one, I want you to audit the quality of your revenue. This is very important. I want you to go back through recent work and assess it honestly with your accountant, with your bookkeeper, with your finance team, depending on what size your business is. So we're asking these questions. Which clients or project were actually good business? We're talking about money. You got to remember, we're talking about revenue here. Which ones looked good when sold, but became painful in delivery? Even I had it in my business. Which ones were profitable on paper, but messy in reality? I had one of those, so many of them. Which one demanded too much senior intervention? That's the big one, because your time is way more expensive than anyone else in the business. Which one created friction, rework, or margin leakage? You need to know what is good revenue, tolerable revenue, and shit revenue dressed up as growth, because those are not the same thing. Okay? This is so important. You got to go through the revenue. Now, number two, I want you to do, look at where the business still relies on heroics. So where are the results still being held together by yourself as a CEO, business leader, entrepreneur, your other business leaders, where they're overcompensating? So, where does the business work? Because someone is usually capable, usually committed, or quietly patching gap the system should be handling. You got to find that section. That might be you. That might be your senior operator. That might be your project lead. That might be your finance person. That could be your delivery manager. You got to look at that. Could be your receptionist, your admin. That could be anyone. So heroics hide structural weakness for a while. Then growth comes in and rips the cover off it. You want to be ahead of this. Now, number 3, what you should do. Tighten what good fit actually means. This is a big thing. Everything I say, it's a big thing because it's very important. But the reason I said that is a lot of businesses think they know their businesses, they know their best fit client or their best fit work. But the criteria are still way too loose, especially if you're working by yourself and you're still a sole trader. That's absolutely fine. Even that, I work with sole traders who are confused what is best work. But when you have team, even gets more important. You see, they say yes based on revenue size, urgency, relationship, or the one that gives me eye twitch in business, optimism. That's not enough. Good fit in business needs to include commercial fit, delivery fit, capacity fit, complexity fit, decision-making fit, and expectation fit. Because some clients, and we all know, are not hard because the work is hard. They are hard because they are the wrong fit for how your business actually runs and what they do well. Now, number 4. This is number 4 thing I want you to look at. Name the choke points properly. Where does work slow down, gets messy, or create confusion? You got to find those. Sales to delivery handover? Is it scoping? Is it resourcing? Is it approval? Is it the ownership? Is the choking point the decision rights? Is there cross-functional communication? Is the choking points quality control, capacity planning? Do not hide behind vague lines like, we just need better communication. Oh, no. What that usually means, ownership is unclear, expectations are loose, or ambiguity has been tolerated for far too long in this business. Call the choke point. What is it? You've got to find it. Now, 5th thing to look at. Make capacity and leadership decisions. A lot of businesses don't really manage capacity. They just keep absorbing work until it hurts. That's not a strategy for business. That's a wishful thinking with better branding. Capacity is not just headcount. Don't confuse it. It's leadership bandwidth, decision load, onboarding strain, workflow design, delivery variability, the amount of complexity your model can handle before performance drops. We do not want a performance to drop. If the business keeps saying yes without understanding what that yes actually costs, your capacity planning is a fantasy. I get so excited about this. And fantasy, my friend, in business is expensive. Even in real life is expensive. We don't want that. 6th thing to look at. Stop celebrating work won if the work delivered is suffering. As the salespeople hate this, but if the business praises sales harder than it values clean delivery, this problem will keep repeating. Business leaders respond to what gets rewarded. People respond to what gets rewarded. If the revenue get the applause and operational cleanup happens quietly in the background, you keep feeding the front end while punishing the back end. That's backwards. A deal is not clean win if it makes the business harder to run, less profitable, or more reliant on the rescue mode. That's not good. You need to go back and you must check that. Very passionate about this, okay? Now, seventh thing you look at. Ask this question. This is a good one. You ready? If you double this exact work over the next year, would the business get stronger or shakier? That applies to any size business, any size department. That question's cut through bullshit fast. Would the business become more profitable, cleaner, easier to run, less founder dependent, more stable? Or would it just become a bigger version of the same stress? Because if doubling the work would double the strain, the issue is not demand. The issue is the business model. Now, number 8, last one I want you to look at. Let yourself want a business that feels better to run. That's very personal. This matters. A lot of experienced leaders keep tolerating, a lot of CEOs, a lot of business owners keep tolerating operational heaviness because they think that's just the price of growth, or that's just the price of having a business. Sometimes it is, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's just poor design, weak decisions, old habits that no longer fit the business you've built. You're allowed, my friend, are you hearing me this? You hearing this? You are allowed to want business that perform well and feels cleaner to lead. You're allowed to want less friction. You're allowed to want a business with less noise, with less dependency, with less reactive effort. That doesn't make you soft. It makes you commercially insane, even personally insane. Now, so let's land this properly. If you take one thing from this episode, let it be this, my friend. Here comes Neda's wisdom. More work is not always better. If your business cannot deliver that work cleanly, profitably, I hate that word, and without creating more chaos, then growth is not helping you, it's exposing you. That's a takeaway. Because winning more work can feel like progress while making the business worse underneath. It can hide weak feet, weak process, weak boundaries, weak capacity decisions, weak leadership alignment. And if you keep treating all growth like good growth, you end up with business that looks successful from a distance and feels exhausting up close. And you as a leader is up close. That's not the goal. The goal is to build a business that knows what to say yes to. The goal is to build a business that can deliver well without drama. The goal is to build a business that protects margin, that doesn't rely on constant heroic. A business that gets healthier as it grows, not harder to carry on one or two people's shoulders because they own it. That's the shift. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. So, before you chase the next sale, the next contract, the next growth push, ask yourself this. Is this work actually making my business better? Or are we just getting bigger at the cost of clarity, margin, and my sanity? Because there's a massive difference between a business that is growing and a business that is growing well. And the leaders who build strong businesses are usually not the ones saying yes to everything. They are the ones that with the judgment to know what kind of growth is worth carrying. More work is easy to celebrate. Better work is what actually changes your business. Thanks for joining me on the Soapbox today. If this episode made you laugh, wince, nod aggressively, or whisper, shit, that's true, to yourself in the car, make sure you subscribe and share it with another leader who probably need the same wake-up call. And if your business is doing well on a paper, but behind the scene, if it still feels like organized chaos with nicer branding, reach out to me on LinkedIn, because fixing that is not a motivational exercise. It's real work. And as it happens to be my lane of work. Wishing you an amazing week ahead. Until next time, stay curious and stay kind, especially to yourself. Bye now.